Hi everyone, I'm the Nature Guy and I'm up here at Camp Sable over in the North Woods. Some of you have maybe camped over here before. Today I want to talk about a group of organisms called lichen. That's right, lichen. Well, what's a lichen? It turns out that lichens are actually a mixture of fungus and algae that grow together. In fact, the little algae cells grow in the fungus cells, and that makes a lichen. Now, why would they even do that? Well, it turns out the algae, as you know, is usually found in the water, but lichens grow on land in really dry places like on a rock or on the bark of a tree. And so an algae couldn't very well survive there because there's just not enough moisture for it. So by living inside a fungus cell, it can stay moist and it can still do its very famous thing, which is capture light from the sun and turn that into chemical energy, making its own food. So that algae now is protected inside the fungus. So how does the fungus benefit out of all this? Well, it turns out that the algae feeds the fungus. The fungus protects the algae. And so they work together. And biologists have a name for that. We say that's symbiosis. Now, there's lots of different types of lichens, because if you take this kind of fungus and this kind of algae and mix them together, then you've got that type of lichen. Or if you take a different type of fungus and a different type of algae and put that together, you have another type of lichen. So we're going to go look for some lichen. We're going to take a little walk and see what we can find. I found a stick here with some. I'll put a little closer so you can see, just so you know what we're looking for. Lichens are kind of crusty, but we know inside there's that little algae, those algae cells that are helping it live. And actually, when these parts break off, the little parts that fall to the ground, they'll start a new little colony of lichen. And so that's just really cool. Let's go see what other kinds we can find. Many of the trees at Camp Sable are covered with this kind of lichen. It's called a shield lichen. And this one looks pretty similar to that shield lichen, except it's called green shield, speckled green shield. Even these white spots are a type of lichen. This is called whitewash lichen, and it really does look like someone just painted it on the tree. And here's pixie cup lichen. These are one of my favorites. See all the little structures that look like cups? I guess that's where they got its name from. And here's a different one altogether. It's quite dark and it has these little flanges that stick out. These are called pelt lichens. And on the underneath side, they're actually quite white and hairy. Those little bright red spots, that's the very top of a lichen that is called British soldiers. Kind of an interesting name, but I guess those soldiers used to wear red all the time, so that kind of makes sense. This is gray reindeer lichen. I guess it got its name from the fact that the little branches kind of reminded someone of reindeer antlers. And there's a lot of it here at Camp Sable. Wow, there's a whole patch right here. And that's just the beginning of lichens. I only took a walk that went about 100 yards to get all these. It'd be interesting for you to look and see what you might have growing in your backyard. So I think there's two lessons that we can learn from these neat little lichens that we've seen today. One of them is that, by working together, we can help each other. Okay, the algae wouldn't do real well by itself, and the fungus doesn't do as well by itself, but together they can accomplish things that either by themselves couldn't. I think that's a really good lesson. The Bible tells us about that. But I think there's another lesson too. God didn't just make one kind of lichen, or one kind of mushroom, or one kind of moss. He made all sorts of different kinds of these organisms, just like he's made different types of people. We're all unique and different, and he loves us all exactly the same. And he wants the same thing for us. He wants us to be happy and to go home with him to heaven. Thanks for listening to our story about the lichen. See you next time. Bye now.
Okay, bow your heads for prayer. Dear Jesus, thank you for this day. Thank you that we had a good children's story. I ask you to be with us and keep us safe and protect us from COVID. Amen.